information and data is embedded within the hippocampus. That is why scaffolding is so important. One of the main reasons, for example, we are able to recall our phone numbers and addresses is because we have repeated them so many times that it's permanently embedded within our memory and within our brain. And that's how learning works. Learning is about recall. Learning is about memory. That's why scaffolding a student within your lesson is so important and so valuable. Okay. Scaffolding within education is giving support within the learning process, which is tailored to meet the needs of students with the intention of helping students to achieve their learning goals and their ultimate learning potential. The learning process is designed to promote a deeper level of learning. In building, scaffolding involves layers. You build from one set to another, and that same analogy can be applied to education. For example, if you're within your classroom and you're teaching vocabulary, and the word, for example, you're learning is happiness. Within the word happiness is the word happy. You can build from there, which means to be joyous, to be happy. It's the same way. Whenever you allow students to recall data or information they've learned previous, this will make your lessons more effective. And that's all scaffolding is. Building off prior skills that students have already acquired or already learned. And that is a very effective cognition strategy to use within your learning environment, within your classroom. Okay. Scaffolding involves building our prior learned skills. Key factors to consider when you're scaffolding your students are their prior knowledge. You can't never assume anything. Just because you may know something, that does not necessarily mean that your students know that. So you have to always start with their prior knowledge. You have to start somewhere. Another factor to consider are the skill set of your students. Once again, you cannot automatically assume that just because certain students may know certain things, that all your students know that. That's why it's always important to scaffold your students to get a baseline to know where to go as far as your lessons, to make your lessons more effective. Because your goal within your classroom is for all your students to be the best they can be and to be as successful as they can be. Okay. Another factor to consider when you're scaffolding your students is vocabulary. Excuse me. Once again, you cannot assume just because certain students may know certain things that all students know certain things. For example, when I was working with my son, he's a first grader. One of his vocabulary words was the word tan. Tan can mean multiple things, but we're African Americans. We don't tan. So I helped him learn different meanings for the word tan, which of course tan means brown. But once again, that's a simple example. You cannot automatically assume that all students know certain things just because you know certain things. Another factor to consider when you're scaffolding your students is to build off prior learned skills. Once again, all scaffolding is building off prior skill sets. So you have to start somewhere. Just like in building, you start with one layer and you progress from there. Okay. Once again, and my daughter is looking through the one. This is my 12th time doing this video. This is it. Once again, if all these factors are considered, learning will be more effective for your students. Thank you so much for listening to my video, class. I apologize for my appearance. My eyes are baggy because I am exhausted. But anyway, this is a very important cognitive strategy to use within your classroom to always build off prior skill sets. Thank you. I'm so glad this assignment is over. Bye bye.